Hello and welcome everyone to episode 10 of One Piece at a Time, the One Piece read-through podcast where we read and discuss 5 chapters of the One Piece manga each and every week. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host and freelance letterer at Shonen Jump, Brandon Bovia. How you doing, Brandon?
How's it going, everybody? Doing pretty good. As you all know, I'm the English letterer for manga like Dragon Ball Super and Kaiju number 8, both of which I was working on right before we started recording, because that's just how life is.
Shock and awe. Both of us really work a lot around these podcasts.
Yeah, basically. Just like, oh God.
Yeah, there's a lot to get done. But hey, we reached double digits. That's something to be excited about. And the other
That's crazy.
It really is. The other, crazy thing is that next episode, we'll have hit a year of One Piece releasing in Japan.
Yeah.
With chapter 52. Unless he took breaks. I don't think he took breaks, but...
The magazine doesn't run for... It has double issues sometimes.
Oh, okay.
So it might technically be like 47 or 48, but close enough. We're in that ballpark.
In that ballpark where we've seen the first year of stories. And it's funny that the stuff that really convinces people to keep going with One Piece hasn't quite happened yet.
Yeah, it feels like once we hit that year mark, it's like Oda's like, okay, all right, everybody out. Like
God, yeah, because I'm feeling it already. I am feeling it already, and you
can see it fall into place, and it's so exciting.
It really is. Like this is
in the most painful kind of way, emotionally.
Yep. Oh boy, we will get there. But first up, we have the emotional distress of chapter 46, an uninvited guest. But really, the greater distress here is poor Buggy, who
getting shot by Gaimon.
Yeah,
right?
Gaimon. He ran into Gaimon, and all he can do is tug on his hair with his hand.
So funny.
Meanwhile, I'm counting here. Gaimon got a solid 4 shots off on Buggy. Fortunately,
there's bullet holes. Jesus Christ.
It is rough. And I love that the animals are just sort of sitting there like, yep, this is life.
Yeah, this is happening. Oh, man, that's great.
I know. Just the fact that these two run into one another. It's like, what a great way to bring back a nothing character. But let's get to the actual stuff where we have this major conversation between Sanji and Zeff, where... Obviously, last time Zeff was like, oh, you're flirting again? If you want to leave and you're like separated by fate, go. Don't need you here. And he lays it on. You waste hours flaring your nostrils for women. You fight with customers and you're a lousy cook, which I feel like that hurts
how you really
the
feel.
most. Yeah, seriously. The other cooks don't like you either, so go be a pirate and get out. And Sanji's just like, no. You're out of line. Don't ever insult my cooking, and I'm staying right here. And I love that Zeff is shown to be that powerful that he just flips over Sanji.
Yeah, he could just flip him over a table.
Yeah, and we had this whole demonstration of what Sanji could do off screen, but still what he could do, and it's just like...
Yeah, Zeff is a badass.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of seen that, but jeez.
That said, I actually... don't remember why in particular Zeff wants Sanji to go at this point. And like you can tell by the way that Zeff is like, he's laying it on real thick. Like, he's like, go, get out of here. So he obviously, I think he's trying to force Sanji to go. Yeah. Trying to egg him on. But I don't remember the reason why he's doing this.
If I remember correctly, we will get the reason later on. But that's, I'm going to say that's a good 10 or so chapters away.
Right.
We are a ways off from that, but Sanji is determined. It's like, you can't kick me out. I'm cooking here forever until you die. And Zeff's like, I'm going to die. I'm going to live for 100 years.
It's just like a child in an argument.
Oh, it's so good. Even better is the fact that Luffy just seems to be completely ambivalent to all of it. It's like, oh, good. You got permission. Come be my cook.
Yeah. It's like, all right, cool. Yeah. Now that's settled.
Yeah, that was easy. What do you have to worry about? And it's time to get into Sanji's bit again, where he's wooing Nami. Just forgive the commotion. A flute macedone? I don't know. A fruit salad, it looks like. I mean, it looks pretty yummy, but I love this detail. I don't know if you noticed it, but you know how Zeff is like, you waste hours flaring your nostrils for the women? Look what he's doing while he's serving that to Nami. He's flaring his nostrils. That has to be on purpose. That's so good.
Yeah, oh, it's great.
And I love that Nami just plays into it. It's like,
Oh yeah, she's
gallant.
all right. She's in for the bit.
It's like, oh my, that's so nice. And Usopp's like, hey, what about us? And it's like, I gave you tea. You should be grateful. But the interaction here, you want to fight? I'm not going to take that from you. Get him, Zoro.
Yeah, I was like, get in there.
Yeah, you fight him.
You do it.
Meanwhile, Zoro wants nothing to do with it. And
Yeah, of course.
Luffy's trying to steal the fruit salad.
It's just complete. This crew. These are the kinds of interactions I live for.
Oh yeah,
You just have everybody's
so good.
playing off of each other.
Even if it's not direct, you just see them in the background doing something. Like it's always active, and I think that's what really sells the way they work together so much. Or even this, it goes further between the two of them, because I honestly would have thought it would have stopped there. But Usopp's like, you haven't even cleared my plate, but it's just like, there's mushrooms on it. Eat it. And Usopp gives a pretty solid reason for not liking mushrooms anymore. He's like, I don't care. Eat it. And yeah. I'm so looking forward to, like, for the people who have not experienced Sanji yet, why he is so insistent on people eating food and, well, acts the way he does throughout
Or you don't waste food in front of Sanji. Like, that is a very consistent part about his character. That is, you just don't do that in front of him. Like he will make sure you pay. You eat it.
Definitely will. I think this is also our official beginning of Usopp's nose becoming a little bit longer and a bit more rounded. Like we got to but the way it curls up on Sanji's forehead.
That's great.
It's just so visually weird. Oh god, Nami playing into it, like, oh please don't fight over me. It's like, this gourmet is a tad pricey. It's like, oh, it's free. Hooray! It's like,
he's got him. And then, of course, I love, like, the next reaction. Sanji's like, pay up your bums.
Yeah, I know.
To Usopp.
She just completely has him in the palm of his hands.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is he's still conscious of what's going on around him. He's just a sucker for women, because he talks to these other women. They're even saying, or maybe it's Usopp saying, I want my fruit. I'm not sure who's saying I want my fruit, but he's still cognizant enough to come back and kick Luffy in the head and say, hey, stop goofing off.
Yeah, just bonk.
Here's the other crazy thing. 2 days past them hanging out at this restaurant.
Yeah, that surprised me.
Luffy is like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they've just legit been here for 2 days. Like,
yeah.
The adventure has stopped so that Luffy can pay off his debt.
It's wild, because I was like, I completely forgot that it just doesn't happen, but I guess it works. So I guess at first,
I thought this was instant.
It did feel instant, because it felt like Gin got back to Krieg pretty quickly in the last chapter,
and then it took 2 days to get back. Though I guess we might see why that was here.
Yeah, that's for sure. But we get to see Krieg's Jolly Roger, and even an explanation for it. The hourglasses besides the skull mean that time's run out for their enemies. Which
that's fun.
That's
I completely forgot about his Jolly Roger.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were hourglasses.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And it's
not the first time we've seen a Jolly Roger from another crew, but I guess like we're seeing more and more of them, and about like how like customized and thematic that they are.
The Jolly Rogers are some of the best parts. Well, design wise, it's always fun to see what the next pirate crew's Jolly Roger is going to be like.
Oh, for sure.
We get a lot of creativity there. And immediately, like, Patty's like, oh god, I've made a mistake. They've come back to revenge just one flunky. It's like, I look of panic on Patty's face.
Yeah, everybody's
really
freaking out.
Usopp's ready to get out of here. Zoro's preparing his swords. And apparently, they took a beating more than I thought. Johnny,
they're still recovering. Yeah, Johnny and Yosaku
from Iron.
Yeah, 2 days.
Iron body or full body. Excuse me.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I love how Luffy's just optimistic. It's like, oh, maybe Gene's come back to say thanks.
Yeah, always thinking the best of people.
Oh yeah, it's all good. Then we actually see the ship, and God, it's huge.
It's huge, and just this reveal was jaw-dropping to me.
It really is, because the sense of scale is so impressive, because you have Krieg's ship towering over everything. You see the Barati, but if you look at the M, there's the Going Merry.
Oh God, you're right.
And just how small Luffy's ship is compared to all this.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
That is so. There's another one later on, another spread that like I think there's something about how confidently Oda is able to like convey the scale of the ships. That's just like it feels different compared to everything else up to now. Like this and another example a little bit later.
Yeah, it feels like you have
like
to
the scale
emphasize,
and the detail is just like wow.
Because enemy-wise, the idea here is just a man who commands just massive armies. That's what Luffy's up against. Although it's a little different this time around because of just the obviously the shape that Krieg's crew is in.
Yeah,
and we learn a bit more of that. And Sanji just assumes that they sailed through a typhoon and just got wrecked that way. And that's when the door burst open and we see Gaimon holding up a visibly distraught Don Krieg.
I love the font choice here too, where you can see the font is kind of like eroded. So it's like he's speaking with like a dry throat, like please, may I have some? Yeah, you can tell.
It's pained and exasperated and just worn down.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's an interesting look.
What a way to introduce the villain.
Yeah,
to have him introduce him by him dying,
starving, being supported by somebody else. Like, what was your first impression seeing Krieg
in this batch of chapters, or just originally?
Just right here. Like, what did you think?
Yeah, it's definitely it's a weird. What's the word? I guess like a contrast because they've been talking him up as this like hugely dangerous man, and they still talk him up in this chapter as like a hugely dangerous man. So you have that contrasted with just like, seeing him on his last legs, basically.
Yeah.
That's something I thought was interesting.
Very plain clothes, almost like a casual, I want to say gangster, just because of
he does look like a Don.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I guess that's true. He does look like a Don. The giant chain, the sort of casual clothes, the bandage wrapped around his head. It's cuts an interesting figure, but he's on the floor pretty quickly, and Jean is just begging for help for him, showing that much, but nobody really cares. And Patty actually starts laughing. Like he's no longer worried. He's like, this bum is the dreaded Don Krieg. It's like, oh, we got money. And Jean's like, hey, we have money. Patty doesn't care. It's like, no, they want to get the Marines. They're gonna want to catch him. Don't feed
right.
him
Yeah,
anything.
like this is an infamous pirate, and like here he is dying on your doorstep. Like, of course, like turn him in. Yeah. Why would you feed him to let him regain strength?
It makes no sense. Like, it is obviously what you would not do, especially as you learn his whole deal. Because the cook's immediately like, yeah, if he regains his strength, he'll pillage the restaurant. And even Krieg is begging, I won't harm anyone. Feed me and I'll leave quietly. And I don't know. I can't remember how I felt about this the first time I watched it in the anime, because obviously I know what's going to happen here as we go through. But reading it for the first time, did you believe him?
I wanted to. It's hard. It was a long time ago. Obviously going into this one, I remembered, and now obviously so that the story can progress. He's gonna dick everybody over.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. At the time, I don't quite remember how I felt about it. But like knowing like, okay, this is the villain that they built up. Like he's probably full of it.
Yeah, that was my guess. But I wondered if Gaimon was also kind of part of it, because he's like, don't grovel. This isn't you. It's beneath you. And it's almost. You wonder if he's playing it up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, actually, I mean, he might be playing it up, but
not really, from what I can tell, beyond this. But either way, Sanji sees somebody starving, kicks Patty away, which looks kind of brutal.
Yeah, it does, right in the face.
Oh, God, face, necks, whatever. It's just, poof. And he hands over that same sort of plate that he gave Gaimon, and Krieg gulps it down, has the wine, and everybody's like just yelling at Sanji and giving his...
Why would you do this? No.
Exactly. And when you hear the backstory, it makes sense. Foul play Krieg started out in prison, lied his way into a Marine ship, killed the officers, took over to get his start as a pirate, and then he'll use any underhanded trick in the book to try to make it work. Flying a Marine flag, flying white flags, opening fire. He's just cannot be trusted whatsoever.
I find it funny that we mentioned this after he's already been fed.
Yeah, exactly. I guess it's assumed that everybody knew this, but then we get...
I guess it's here for the reader, but also like, hey, maybe don't. Like, that's too late.
Yep, and then we get one of those famous Oda page turns, because as soon as he finishes saying that, a clothesline to Sanji, knocking him flat.
Yeah, just oof. That one looks like it hurt.
Yeah,
it's just right by the neck.
Yeah, with this armor piece that all of a sudden was hidden behind his cloak before. See, the face that Gin makes here is what makes me think he's completely on the level.
Yeah,
that is a true shocked face like everybody else.
Yeah, on the next page, he's like, you said you wouldn't. You swore that you wouldn't hurt nobody if I led you here. Which on one part, I'm like, if he's a part of this pirate crew, that kind of comes off as like naivety to me.
A little bit,
because he's not, he shouldn't be surprised.
No,
at this point. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it comes off as a little odd to me. This choice, but
yeah, he's a little too trusting for a man that he's worked with for a while, but
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it might be one of those things where like, well, he's never lied to me. He does it to other people, but never to me, and that doesn't quite work.
Yeah,
but man, that is effective food to get him back into that level of strength.
Yeah, he's just right back up. Like, okay,
I'm fine. Sanji, I'll take some of that.
Time to be an asshole.
There's something about that line. It's like, nice restaurant, I'll take it.
I'll
just
take
end off the
yeah,
chapter.
That's great. Yep. Oh, that is where it ends.
Yeah, it is. Nothing too crazy from the SBS this time. More antics. Except for the fact that somebody's asking about the time frame of all this. So at present, issue 46 of Shonen Jump, the Japanese edition, is out. The One Piece chapter in there is chapter 60. However, he just finished drawing chapter 63. So a chapter emerges in the world 3 weeks after he's completed it, but that's just his schedule right now. And not everyone drawing for a weekly publication does it the same way, and it might change for him too.
That is about what I've heard.
That's a fun look behind the curtain.
Yeah, that's more or less what I've heard from other authors, over the years. Mm-hmm. For Shonen Jump specifically, at least. Yeah, it's about 3 chapters ahead.
Yeah. So the Tankobon, or the collected works, the volumes, seem to be about 14 chapters behind. So about 2 or 3 months behind where Shonen Jump is.
Yeah, more or less.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
to get the collected works in there. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to chapter 47, The Dawn's Offer. And
this one, this cover story made me laugh.
Oh, it's so ridiculous. It's like somehow they became friends. It's like, oh wait, you're strange too, and they're sharing all kinds of fruit. The animals are dancing. It just looks completely wild.
It's like a giraffe-looking thing. And he's dabbing.
Yeah. Oda invented dabbing way before everybody else.
Of course.
Like, you got to get on his level. The pig's dabbing really too. Oh, reverse dabbing really. These animals, I swear, but it is utterly goofy. And I love Buggy's journey because of that, because it just, you never know where it's going to go next.
This guy's been through a lot.
He really has. It's been rough, but we get the actual chapter proper, and that's enough for everybody, every normal customer in the restaurant to be like, all right, abandoned ship, get on the boat, let's get out of here. And good way to get civilians out of this situation, I think.
My memories of this arc from this point onward are that, like, nobody else is here but the relevant characters. Like, yeah. I think that it's that one panel, everyone's like, all right, get out. Everybody out, time for the fight to start.
Yeah, which makes sense. The regular people aren't going to stick around if they have an opportunity to escape. Yeah. And as we see, the cooks have a stake in all this. I like that Luffy's actually still concerned about Gin.
Yeah. Oh, that's a nice touch, actually.
He's so desperate, and Luffy is genuinely concerned for it. And we get to see Krieg just basically going off on his whole thing. Is like, yeah, I just need a new one to do all that. And we get to see kind of a small taste of what happened to him. Is like there's 100 men on his ship who still draw breath, dying from wounds, hunger, and thirst. And he's basically like, all right, you're going to prepare them. There's no time to waste because some of them have already starved to death, which paints a very bleak picture of that ship.
Yeah,
right now. Like, my God,
it looks like a mess over there. Just the imagery of all of the guys just like splayed out over the ship.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's
pretty
Wow.
brutal in that way. And obviously, I don't know the name of this other cook that hangs out with Patty all the time.
Yeah. I don't know either.
But he's like, yeah, no, we're not cooking food for you. And we get an interesting look by Krieg, and I think, I'm sorry, looking at this now, he's fully powered up, got his strength back. He is not intimidating in the slightest.
he's kind of not. At least I feel like it's his face.
Yeah, it's his face, maybe the mutton chops.
When we see the rest of him, that part is a little intimidating, but also looks kind of goofy at the same time, as we'll get to in a little bit.
Yeah, it's just not intimidating in the same way as Kuro.
Yeah, that's true.
It's coming off of Kuro and his just really ominous faces. Like, he looked down upon everyone, and I don't get that same feeling from Krieg.
Yeah.
It's more like he knows his power. He knows, like, there's no strategy or anything like that, or just a sense of superiority. It's just like, I have the numbers, you will follow me.
It feels like desperation, which can be intimidating in its own right. We're basically seeing him at this point where he's like basically willing to do anything to like scrounge for this just last little scrap of power.
It really feels that way. And then, God, these moments of Sanji are so good. I really can't wait for the newcomers to learn why Sanji is like this. He's just like,
not even a second of hesitation.
Nope. He hears that people are dying of hunger. He spits out the blood. He's like, we've got 100 meals to prepare. And that shot.
Yeah, I love that instant reaction for all the other cooks. There's no background. All you see is Sanji surrounded by like 7 of the other cooks, all pointing guns at him.
Yeah. That is
so rad.
So effective. Because you could just picture it in your mind where he just takes another step and just all of a sudden all the cocking of the guns, and just like,
yeah, that's cool.
Ooh, that is really cool. And they immediately suspect, like, are you with Krieg? Sanji doesn't really say anything. It's just like, hey, if you want to shoot me, shoot me. And I know they're villains, but I got to feed them, not judge them, because otherwise it gets too complicated. And if a man is hungry, I feed him. That's a cook's job.
The coolest parts about Sanji's character to me are his, like, he has such a strong moral compass, whether or not you agree with it, which we can get into over the course of the series. But
yeah,
he's the one who like lays down the line, like, I am going to do this, or I am not going to do this, just because I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah,
and like I think there's something about that makes him like instantly appealing, especially in this moment.
It's a different flavor, than we've gotten with everybody else up to this point. And it's a conviction in a different way to Zoro or Usopp.
But a conviction nonetheless, and it's strong, which I think is like what all the best One Piece characters have, or at least a lot of them.
Yeah, they don't shoot him. Instead, Patty cold cocks him in the back of the head.
Yep. Well, he had this whole cool speech, lined up across, surrounded by guns, and then just bonk.
Yeah, that'll take him down. And we get a little thing by Patty. It's like, I know you feed the people I chase off, and maybe you're right, but not this time. I got to defend this restaurant. Got to defeat Don Krieg, but he's just one man. He can't beat us all. And I
really like this. You can definitely see both sides of the argument in the situation, Yeah. Like,
if I was put in this situation, I'd probably be on Patty's side.
Yeah, of course, because, the Don Krieg's a supervillain, and you don't want to die, and you don't want him to take your ship. But, like, I guess for a first-time reader, you'd be like, okay, why is Sanji acting this way? But I think it's a really cool insight into the way that he conducts himself.
And then we just get the best thing, where Patty gets a hold of this shrimp cannon.
He's got a Glock.
He's got this shrimp cannon and launches the meatball of doom.
Oh man, it's so good.
So freaking amazing. But that's when we get the reveal of kind of what Krieg is all about.
Yeah, he kind of takes the hit.
Yeah, he turns out dude has some crazy armor to shake off that basically point blank cannon shot.
Yeah. It's not something you get in the manga, but I love in the anime, like this armor is like obnoxiously gold.
Yes, I do like that.
It is gaudy.
Yeah, it is all about showing off that power and just sort of the wealth and whatnot that he has. And then they all decide to rush him. I love that they use giant forks. It is so ridiculous.
What I want to know is like what the armory of this restaurant looks like between the shrimp cannon and the giant forks. It's like, okay, I feel like those are two different kinds of ridiculous. So I wonder what everything in between those two things is.
It does make you wonder, but God, I love it so much because it's just so appropriately One Piece, where you completely take it serious. Like, yeah, they're attacking with forks, but dang it, they got to protect their restaurant. But then we get a full page spread where turns out Krieg has just tons of guns. Heat.
Yeah.
That's a little ridiculous, but again, it ties into the whole full thing where he just has layers upon layers of things to help him fight.
Yeah, the man's a whole walk-in armory, basically. And I do kind of like this build-up because I don't think we haven't gotten to the reveal yet, but
yeah,
I do like, because we're sort of seeing his arsenal and his abilities right here. You know, we'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah. Even though he's shooting all these guys and looking theoretically intimidating, it looks ridiculous, and his stupid mouth being so wide open, especially in the next
he's just
shot,
like,
is he's just not threatening. Yep. I'll say this right now, and again, maybe the manga will change me, but so far, not really. Krieg is probably one of my least favorite villains.
I don't have any strong feelings towards him. Mm-hmm. That is what I remembered, and that is so far holding up true. Yeah. Like we clowned on Crow a lot, but like at his highest points, he's pretty cool. Like he's a pretty threatening villain. But even though, you know, Krieg is like, he's got all these guns and this really shiny armor, like, yeah, he's just
it feels kind of
goofy.
Yeah, he's not as impressive as Kuro in a weird way, because, you know, Kuro talked himself up for his plans, but when it came down to actually fighting, man could get it done.
He was intimidating on the battlefield, even if his plan was dumb.
Yeah. Krieg, on the other hand, is all about that.
He's raw power.
Yeah,
basically.
Just raw power, I suppose, and just arming himself up. But at his core, it's like, without this stuff, how strong actually is he? But the thing is, there's a lot of stuff. Arms of steel, a carapace of the strongest Wootz steel, diamond fists, built-in array of weapons, and then, of course, the 50 ships and 5,000 fighting men, where he's apparently never lost a battle. Mm-hmm. Those achievements are impressive, but there's just something about him where it's just like, he's not impressive, which may be the point.
Yeah, I like it in contrast to, I guess, what we're about to get to here, where like Zeff is like, "Oh yeah, I heard of you guys," and like, you went to the Grand Line and you guys ran off scared.
Yeah,
like you guys went to the Grand Line for 5 minutes and you couldn't handle it, so you came back, you know, tails between your legs. So
lasted a week, but even before that, I love this moment where it's so far we've only seen Sanji feed these truly hungry people, and Zeff just sort of looks over and not really saying anything. But Zeff is the one to hand over the 100 prepared meals.
Yeah,
no involvement whatsoever, but he's the one that does it, same as Sanji.
That was really fast.
Yeah. I was almost like you had it prepared, or just like, well, everybody left, so let's gather up their food, not waste anything.
Hint, wink at the stuff a little bit later, but it is, despite the fact that they fight all the time, it's funny seeing it here that Zeff and Sanji kind of have they have a similar viewpoint on how to feed people and what it means to be a chef. That Krieg immediately
recognizes the name Zeff, but we'll get to that in a bit. Other than the fact that it's like he's apparently Reg. Actually, that's in the next chapter. I didn't realize it was over already.
That's where the last page is.
Yeah, we just get the reveal that apparently Zeff is somebody well known called Red Shoes Zeff, and love the subtle thing where it's like when he's talking about that Krieg not being able to handle the Grand Line, and you just have that picture of Geen shaking.
Yeah, like he's scared.
Like he's thinking about it and he can't handle it. It is too much for him.
So that is sort of my one point of defense maybe for Don Krieg is that he's not intimidating, and you know he has all of this stuff, but it is a way to establish that like all of that stuff is not going to help you on the Grand Line.
That is a good way to put it. Like the Grand Line, like even if you have all these things,
Yeah, you can have a fleet of 50 ships. You can have 5,000 men. And you can just get wrecked.
Yeah, still not good enough. But of course, we got another SBS, and man, we got the most important bit of information out here with the first question. What happened to the key that Cho-Cho ate? It came out with a lovely brown sheen. Ugh.
Yeah, that is about what I expected.
We also get confirmation that Roronoa and Monkey are Luffy and Zoro's last names. Just like in Japan, no problem.
Yeah, it's weird that they are Western sounding, or specifically Monkey D. Luffy, but is like Japanese order. That always throws me off with One Piece.
It really does. Like no other Uzumaki Naruto that doesn't throw me off. It's fine.
It's just more of using the Japanese order for like Western sounding names. I'm like, wait, what? Huh?
Yeah. And then we also got the official confirmation of Panda Man. That you spotted before, where, hey, he's a wrestler, and apparently he'll introduce him properly next time. Good to know. All right, Chapter 48, Steer Clear. But first, we got good old Buggy, who has his boat rebuilt. He's saying farewell to his good friends. He's crying as he's leaving. It's such a just
waving him off, sending him on his way.
Buggy just has a true heart of gold. Despite the fact that he blew a man up with his buggy balls. Like,
I forgot how much I loved this cover story.
It's such a high bar.
Buggy be the first one.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so appropriate. Not much else to say, so we'll just jump right in here where we learn more about Red Shoes Zeff from Krieg.
Yeah, a little tease about the backstory.
Yeah, it's like a unique pirate, the Captain Cook. He's like, oh, I'm just a cook now. It's like, but did you choose to be a cook, or was being a pirate too much for you? He's apparently a master of the deadly kick who never used his hands in battle, and the leg strength could smash bedrock and even leave footprints in steel, which kind of handy against Krieg's armor.
That silhouette is so rad. Younger Zeff with his legs just straight up,
and the footprint behind him, like it looks so cool.
Yeah.
But apparently he got the name Red Shoes Zeff because of the blood of his enemies dyeing his shoes. Which, that's rough. And Zeff is like, yeah, I can't fight anymore, but as long as I have these hands, I can cook. So what are you getting at?
I do also want to point out, Don Krieg says that, you did lose one of your precious legs. Like, that is sort of I guess establishing that Zeff was a really powerful fighter with his legs, but now he's got a peg leg. He's kind of like put that part of his life behind him.
Yeah, which basically Zeff confirms. It's just like, yeah, I can't fight like I used to, but here I am. That just entices Krieg even more. It's like, oh yeah, you sailed the Grand Line, were just fine and kept a record of the voyage. Give me the logbook. Zeff's like, yeah, no. It's a testament. I'm not giving it to you. And I love how Luffy's just like, oh, you sailed the Grand Line? That's cool.
Yeah.
I love the excuse. We get a little bit more from Krieg here as we go along. It's like, I had the strength, I had the ships, the men, the ambition. The reason I didn't do well is that I had no knowledge. So give me the log and I'll do fine.
I do find it. I feel like in some respects, this guy might be like the opposite of Kuro, where he basically walked up into the Grand Line with no plan.
Yeah, kind of. He just had the confidence, like pure confidence within himself that no matter what,
that'll be fine.
Yeah, he's like, I got all this power. He's a turtler in RTSs. He turtled, built up his army, and it's like, all right, let's do this. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh crap, I still not ready.
Yeah,
not good. It is at this point that the cooks are like, yeah, you're not taking this ship. This is our home. Like, we can't go anywhere else. This is our treasure. Exactly. I love how Luffy just sort of stays out of this up till this point until Krieg says he's going to be the one to capture the One Piece.
That is, you do not say those words in front of Luffy.
Yeah. He's like,
that is, he will stop you right there.
I love the apron on. It's like the pointing fingers. Like, yeah, no. I'm going to be the king of the pirates.
King of the pirates, yep. It's like, I don't care about all those other things you're talking about, but you said you're going to get the One Piece, and that is where I have to step in. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. And it completely catches Krieg off guard. It's not a game. It's like, yeah, duh. It's not a game. Throughout all this, apparently Zoro and Usopp were just sort of watching. It's like,
yeah, they've just been at the table this whole time.
Usopp's like, it's going to be suicide. It's like, Zoro's just like, stay out of it. And Zoro's even like, hey, I'll lend a hand if you need it. And I was like, nah, I can handle this.
Yeah, such confidence. And I do love Krieg's reaction where he's like, that's your crew? Just 2 guys at a table?
And there's like, no, there's 2 more. It's like, don't count me with Sanji. I'm sorry, Luffy's convinced you're in trouble there, Sanji. This has happened before,
yeah,
and it's,
he has already joined.
Yeah. And this is when we learned it. Krieg only lasted a week.
Yeah.
And that is completely panicked Usopp. But
you hear that 50 ships in 1 week, Zoro? Sounds interesting.
Yeah, sounds like fun. I love it. I love it. Just how confident they are.
Yeah.
But it feels like it's weird. They have the same confidence as Krieg, but for whatever reason, it feels more earned. Maybe because of the underhanded tactics he uses.
Well, as we'll see way later, I think it is, when it comes to navigating the Grand Line, it is the knowledge that comes in handy the most.
That is true. That is true. And I like how he's not wrong, but we'll see in what way. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised he was able to escape the Grand Line. Like, that doesn't feel like it's possible the way it's set up, because the 2 mountains or whatever carrying the side. So how the heck did he get out of the Grand Line?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I not a clue. But he basically says, all right, time to take this food. Anyone who doesn't want to die, get out of here. But otherwise, when I come back with my 100 men, we're taking this ship. Gin actually stays behind and just asks for forgiveness, because he's just like, he didn't think it would happen like this.
You know what? He wanted what was best for his captain, you know? Like, yeah. Sure, I feel like there's probably some part of him that knew that this was going to happen, but it just even charitably being completely caught off guard. It's like it's his only choice, basically, to save the crew.
And he was also, I think it's just that gratefulness, the fact that he was so close to death, so close to dying of hunger. Yeah. And it's instilled this extreme feeling of gratefulness into him. And I guess he assumed the same would happen to Krieg, but nope, definitely not. But Zeff honestly kind of forgives him. It's like, don't worry about it. Cooks actually kind of have this happen too. The Cooks immediately like, why are you siding with Sanji? He's the one who started all of this. And that's when Zeff shuts them all up. It's like, and asks them, have any of you ever been truly hungry before? Gone days without food and water in the high seas? And how agonizing that is.
I love the reaction from Sanji just trying to light a cigarette.
Yeah.
It just says nothing.
Yeah. Can't see his eyes, nothing like that. It's just...
Mm-hmm. He knows.
Yeah. It's a little hint of like why Sanji is the way he is.
Yeah.
All the Cooks decide that they're going to stay and fight, and Gin calls them fools. But I love this breakdown from Sanji. Like, listen to me. As a cook, I consider it my duty to feed the hungry. But soon I'll be facing plunderers with full stomachs, so if I have to beat your mates to death, don't complain.
What a warped sense of logic, but I love it.
It's so good. I will feed them so they're not starving to death, but I will kill them for messing with me.
Yeah, I will slaughter them.
Oh, it's so good.
And then Patty points this out. He's like, you save him, then you kill him. Good idea, Sanji.
I like the other one where it's Luffy hanging out with the others. Like, oh, see, he's tough, huh?
Yeah.
Like,
he's crew impressed. Material.
And then he's like, yeah, I've got to fight Krieg. He's a powerful rival. I'm going to have to take him down sometime, so might as well be
he
now.
said he was after the One Piece, and I took that personally.
Yeah. I took offense to that. Oh, God, it's so good. But I also like that Luffy kind of tries to get some more information about the Grand Line from Gin. Yeah. And you could just see the panic, the PTSD of that place.
Yeah, freaks him out.
He's not sure if it was a dream or reality. And that's when he reveals that all that happened because of just one man. Yeah,
and one man scuppered 50 ships. And then Usopp's reaction, he's just,
Yeah, the wide open mouth thing really worked, where you could just hear him screaming from his, like, what? No. Apparently, a storm is what saved them, because he sank all the other ships, but the flagship was able to escape thanks to the storm.
Because a chapter or two ago, it was like, wow, that ship must have went through a storm. And it's like, the storm was the good part.
Yeah, that was, whew, thank God for the storm. And that's when we finally get sort of a clue of who this could be. A man with piercing hawk eyes, which immediately catches Zoro's attention. I love how this brings him in to the fold.
Yeah.
Like we get that little hint.
Yeah, because he's just been chilling this whole time.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I'll intervene if I have to, but I don't, this doesn't really affect me.
Yeah.
And as soon as he hears that, it's like, oh, now it affects me.
Really? Yeah. And that's where the chapter ends.
Yeah. Man, the cliffhangers are starting to get worse, it feels like.
Oh, yeah. This arc is really starting to hit its stride.
Yeah. It really feels like this is the part where Oda has full confidence in the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a matter of having every element work. And it's there.
Things
it's
are
close.
getting put
it's
into
so
place.
close.
Yeah.
But no more from Buggy for chapter 49, Storm.
Yep.
It's just another sort of one-off with Nami and a albatross, something.
The big old bird, and you got the straw hat on a Japanese mailbox.
Yeah, something. But as soon as Zeff hears this, he realizes who it has to be. Hawkeye.
Yeah, the man with the eyes like a hawk. It had to be Hawkeye.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, you don't say.
Whoa, what a revelation.
Yeah, who knew?
I love Zeff is like, you said his eyes were like a hawk's. That's proof enough.
Only one man had that look. I love how Usopp's almost reacting like, Hawkeye? Who's he? And they're just like, I don't know. But Zoro actually knows. He's the one he's been looking for. And Johnny said he'd come here. But the cooks actually confirmed that no Hawkeye comes here, but Red Eyes comes here, and he drinks too much wine that his eyes turn red.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, yeah, then the fool caught fire and exploded. I missed that part. I completely missed that part when I first read it, that this man exploded. But
so somehow Johnny had the wrong information, but it ended up working out anyway.
I completely forgot that piece of that piece of info that Johnny just had it wrong. I'm amazed.
Yeah, that's great.
What a payoff. Just happened to luck into it. I love this other question. Is like, did you do anything to make him mad? Nope. He just attacks. It's like, well, maybe you interrupted his nap. And Gene takes offense to this, like, no, he's murdered my crewmates. It's like, no, that is not a joke. That's what the Grand Line is like.
I love the build up to the Grand Line we've been getting in these past couple chapters, because it just sounds like a madhouse.
It really does. I think this has been the most effective part, where it's like, you mustn't go there. It's the devil's area. That's
the
too
pirate's
much.
graveyard or whatever. We are seeing that now. All of the talk that people have been saying about the Grand Line. It's like, okay, we are now seeing what that does to people.
Actually having it in front of us, seeing the effect of it all, is finally giving some weight behind all of it. And all it does is excite Luffy even more. A place where anything can happen. It's like, oh, that's perfect.
It's like, wow, that's exciting. And of course, Usopp's like, please think of the danger for once.
Nope, can't do. Not happening. That's when Zoro's like convinced, like, okay, definitely have to go to the Grand Line, because that's where I'm going to find him.
I like that this is a key part of his motivation for this part of the story.
Yeah, it gives him a little bit more.
Yeah, it gives him something to do, kind of, basically.
Yeah, I guess what it does is sort of materialize his goal. Because we have Luffy, who wants the One Piece and be king of the pirates. We have Usopp, who just wants to be a brave man of the sea. A little bit more nebulous, but we can kind of see where he can build to for that. Zoro just wants to be the greatest swordsman, which we understand. But this is going to introduce, really, honestly, already introduces the level that he has to reach in order to achieve that goal. Because we talked about how badass and cool and strong Zoro is. I don't think he can scuttle 500 ships by himself. Yeah.
Or 50, but still.
Or, 50. Nope. But
I love, he has that cool speech, and, Usopp's like, as a man, I must agree. And then, Zoro just bonks him on the head.
Right. You could just hear the sarcasm of, right. Yeah, that's totally. But I love this. It's like, you get more of Zoro's reason. Even that just little from Zeff, where he's like, he's starting to like these kids.
Yeah, he sees it. He sees something of himself in them, probably.
Mm-hmm. And we get even more of the build up from Patty, where it's like, you're idiots. if you want to dream, do it after the crisis, because they are powering up basically.
Yeah.
And then we just get to see that where we get all these crazy looking pirates like screaming, like chowing like
howling
crazy.
like wolves.
Just completely wild. It's like, okay, yeah, these guys are a bit more wild than the Meow Band. Well, not the Meow Band brothers, but the Kuro's crew. I forget the actual name of them, but yeah.
Yeah.
But they're still not crazy enough that they want to go back to the Grand Line, because that's the first thing that Krieg says. It's like
now we can go back, and you're like, excuse me?
Yeah, like what? Nope, shooting. Like immediately shoots one of his men. It's like,
anybody who defies me dies.
Which I guess a chance of death is better than no chance, certainty of death with Krieg shooting you.
Yeah, I guess so.
So yeah, it's time to prepare for the big fight, the showdown between the Krieg pirates and the cooks of the Barati. They're all getting ready to board onto the ship, and I love this two-page spread. What a swerve!
Again, jaw dropping.
Just incredible.
Yeah, because you have them, like, everybody's preparing for battle. You see Don Krieg's pirates, like, they're getting ready to board, and then just, like, the reveal on this two-page spread. And just the detail
seeing the mast taken out, seeing the inside of the ship because of the cuts.
Yeah, Don Krieg's ship gets cut in half in this amazing two-page spread.
It is phenomenal. Like, just
I love this stuff. Just like as an artist, I'm like sweating. I'm like, this is so much detail.
The way it plays off the expectations, especially coming off the last arc, where that's what we had. We're like, all right, we're prepared to face the cat pirates, and they're getting ready to board.
For a showdown.
Yeah, and there was a swerve in that too. But this is much more direct. There's no way for them
it's such an immediate swerve.
Yeah.
You don't see it coming.
It's not that they're in the wrong side. They are lined up. It's like, no, we are here. And then it just gets cut up.
Everybody's freaking out.
Yeah. That is like true freak out from again, Usopp's jaw drop moments. So good.
And even Krieg's jaw drop. He's like, what?
What is happening? He's like, my flagship galleon? How could that be? And that's when they're like, oh crap, we got to check our ship. Is it okay? Which I checked this. Great detail. Mm-hmm. The Going Merry is no longer there. Not docked next to the Barati, which is answered. It's not just like hidden somewhere.
Yeah. Well, this is what we're about to see.
Yeah. They go out to the edge to check on the ship, and instead, Johnny and Yosaku are actually in the water during all this craziness, asking for help.
What? This is bonkers.
Right? It again feeds into the chaos.
The amount of stuff that happens in the last half of this chapter.
Just so much chaos, and it's amazing. Where it's like, where's the ship? And out of nowhere, no indication. You kind of almost forgot about her. Because even Usopp and Zoro were out of the picture for how long. And no, she sailed off. She betrayed them at this moment.
She sailed off with the treasure.
And the ship, which, and that's not even the worst of it. Zeff spots who we can presume to be Hawkeye.
A little guy in a boat.
Which, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, the second half of this chapter is so... It's just crazy.
It's incredible.
They get prepared for the battle. The ship gets cut in half. Johnny and Yosaku are just treading water in the ocean. Nami took the ship. Hawkeye's here.
Especially because like they were talking up Hawkeye, but it felt like almost like the Grand Line, this nebulous thing that they might encounter at some point.
Surprise! He's here.
We never expected Hawkeye to actually show up. So, yeah, that's wild.
Yep.
And for our next SBS, we return to the idea of, hey, Nami's measurements. We were supposed to get these.
Oda tried last time to no avail.
Yeah, but fortunately we have Sanji here, and apparently he can just see the measurements just by looking at them.
That tracks.
Yeah, that does fit. I don't know measurements that well, so 30, 34, 22, 34, okay.
I think it's a specific... They call it the three sizes in Japan. It's basically like It's like bust-sized whip, but something like that.
Yeah, I think it's bust, waist, hips.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
In what order, I'm not even sure. But yeah, apparently Sanji can just see it.
I guess so. But I guess her bust is as wide as her hips, which I'll be honest, I've not really checked that. I don't know.
That sounds like One Piece women.
Yeah, that's true. And waist definitely down low.
Yeah.
Like
that sounds like One Piece.
I'll be honest. I tried looking up like, okay, can I find a woman with an actual one with these measurements to see what it looks like? And I failed, but just because I'm curious, like, is that a possibility?
Yeah. Is this realistic? Is this plausible?
Yeah.
I don't.
It's just nebulous to me because I don't know what's going on there. But okay, there it is.
Hey, there you go.
Thank you.
It's canon.
Yeah. Woo. All right, time for chapter 50, A Parting of Ways. And hey, it's the return of Buggy. And I love how we kind of get a cliffhanger for him as well. It's like off on a new journey, and
he gets attacked at sea by a giant enemy crab.
A giant enemy crab who apparently is a new friend. Who knew? Man, boats are getting messed up in these chapters.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh goodness. But yeah,
all right.
We just
one
get
more.
to see. Yeah, one more. This last one. There's just so much to talk about because
the opening panel of this chapter, I'm obsessed with the detail of just like the ruined chunks of the ship floating in the ocean.
Just like not even really fully sinking, just submerged and just there. It just looks so like just how wild the waves are at this point. It looks like pandemonium.
The art feels like it is like just jumped a level.
Yeah, it really has. And the cooks are like, is the ammunition explode? Meanwhile, the Krieg's pirates are trying to hang on for dear life as it
nobody knows what's
starts
happening.
To sink. And this is the perfect time to show our flashback where what actually happened with Johnny, Yosaku, and Nami. And all we really see is that she's looking at those wanted posters again. Yep. And apparently whoever she's looking at disappeared a while back, also seems to be back to his wicked ways and is worth 20 million berries.
Which is a lot of money.
Yeah, that's definitely a step up. But apparently they went for it, but they didn't quite manage. Even we were a frog's hair from being killed. It's like,
somehow I doubt that.
Yeah, the even we part is like, I don't think you're that good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden Nami's like pulling the treasure from their ship to going merry, and it's like, we're not really planning to stay on this ship. Then she distracts him by the fact, like, hey, could you look away? I want to change clothes.
This is a classic Nami moment.
Oh, yeah, it is. And of course the guys are like, it's like, oh, sure, yeah, don't want to impose. And like, I wonder if a peek would hurt. Just 2 seconds. It won't hurt. And immediately pushed over the edge.
Yep, she just pushes him right off and into the ocean.
I gotta say, if you're reading this off Viz, the app, and seeing the One Piece section, you obviously have seen the banner and some of the characters, including Nami and what she looks like now. Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny up to this point. There has really been no fan service.
Yeah, not really. It's gradual.
Yeah.
It is a gradual change.
Like, this is an opportunity to have at least a little bit of fan service. And it's
she just kind of tugs at her collar a little bit. You don't see anything.
Yeah.
He's showing an uncharacteristic amount of restraint.
I guess the fan service at this point would be the uncharacteristic part, but
yeah, that's something I have opinions on.
No, I'm sure. But all she says to him as over the edge is like, what do you do? They're like, what are you doing? She's like, my job. I rob pirates. Yeah. So I never swore allegiance to Luffy. It was just always temporary. And plus your treasure was irresistible. But, I still had fun. So give the others my best. Hope we meet again.
Yeah.
And just
I'll comment on this a little bit later. But that line where she's, I wasn't with them for very long, but she had fun. Like you can see it in her face that she maybe
the line under her eye.
Yeah, she doesn't quite want to do it.
Yeah, it's just it feels like it's actually stressing her out somehow.
Yeah.
And that's when the whole kaboom thing happened. She got out there just at the right time. Before the whole thing went down.
And that's how she got away.
Yep, she got away. And Zoro's upset. He's like pounding the side of the ship. And Usopp's like abandoned us in our time of need. Luffy actually can still see the ship. It's important that she only just left.
Yeah.
And good on Luffy. He comes up with a plan immediately.
Yeah. Crazy that.
He's like, okay, Johnny, Yusaku, where's your ship? Anchor nearby. Great. Zoro, Usopp, go after her.
Yeah.
And Zoro's like, why go after her?
He's got this line at the bottom of at the bottom pedal where he's like, Nami's going to be our navigator and nobody else. I like that Zoro and Usopp are kind of, you know, like how dare she, basically. But you know, Luffy is like, no, like she's not leaving.
Yeah.
I will not
she
have
can't betray us.
else.
I forbid it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where Zoro's just ready to give up on her. Usopp's kind of more concerned about the ship because it, you know, was a gift from Kaya, which makes sense for him. But Luffy is the only one to care about Nami herself and wants her still to be his navigator. And that, as you said, that's kind of powerful in its own right.
Yeah, that's important. That'll come into play.
So the boat's ready. They're getting ready to head out. And Luffy's not actually going. He's just like, I can't. The Baratie is still in trouble. I got to take care of Krieg. So there's all that. It's a different way to get the other members of the crew out of the picture, but in a unique way.
Yeah, I think this would also, we would see this in later One Piece arcs where you kind of have the crew split up to handle like separate objectives. And I guess this is like one of the first examples of that.
It feels like it. But there's a little bit of a distraction before any of that because Zoro, of course, hears everybody shouting out, it's him. The one who sank our ships, and he followed them all the way to the East Blue.
All the way here. He was 2 days behind, apparently.
Still searching for them, which, man, that just, I don't know what they did, but whew, that is something else. And I love the pure panic on Krieg's face.
Yeah, everybody, he's just, oof.
Yeah.
Even Zoro was just, you know, he's like in a cold sweat.
Yeah, cold sweat, his heart beating. And the only one that's not freaked out about this is Zeff.
I feel like that says a lot.
Yeah, it really does. And just declaring him once again the greatest swordsman in the world.
Swordsman in the world.
We get to see him in Hawkeye Mahawk. What a cool freaking design. Just Dracula.
What a great character design. Yeah.
Spanish Dracula. That's all he is.
Dracula became a pirate, basically.
A pirate with the cross everywhere. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, and he sailed all the way here on this tiny little boat. Got his leg crossed over the other one. Like he's just chilling.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's like no big deal.
Yeah,
and I love this guy, this random pirate. It's like, why do you keep picking on us? And all he says is for fun.
It's so twisted. I love it. And then he's for fun, and he starts trying to shoot him, trying to shoot Mihawk.
Mm-hmm. What does that affect in the bullets? Is he just using his sword to calmly deflect the bullets away, or is he splitting the bullets in half?
I interpreted it as him splitting them in half, but I'm not quite sure myself.
Yeah, that's a little unclear.
Yeah, Zoro said he deflected the bullets with his sword, but
yeah, it seems like he just positioned it in such a way that he was able to.
He's able to line all of them up.
Yeah, it's wild how massive that sword is. The fact that it has a black blade, it looks awesome.
Yeah, it's sick.
Zoro's immediately impressed, such subtle sword work. And Mihawk, of course, says, without subtlety, sword, it's just, you might as well be swinging around an iron bar.
Yeah.
That's when everybody sort of realized, wait, 3 swords. This guy's Zoro?
Oh, yeah, he's been here this whole time.
Yeah, just hanging out.
I do love, this is the first time I think we've seen Zoro just, visibly freaked out.
Yeah.
He's smiling, but you can tell that he's nervous.
Yeah, he's nervous, he's freaked out, but he's also kind of excited.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an interesting thing. And this is also, notably, the first fight we've seen him in, no handicaps.
Yeah. He's at full power.
No injuries, no distractions, fully fed, all that. He is all set.
That is an important distinction, I feel like.
Yeah, it really is. And I love that at this moment, Usopp's like, hey, the ship's almost out of sight. And Luffy's just, again, into one of his trademark, silently watching this what's going on.
Yep.
He's in observation mode, which I kind of love that aspect of Luffy. He's just it's serious when he's just
he's able to read. He can read the situation and go I don't gotta say anything,
Yeah. we get the start of this showdown on one of the wrecked pieces of the ship was like,
it's so cool.
Hawkeye's just like, if you're competent, you don't need to cross swords with me to know that I'm better than you. Yeah. So are you challenging me because of courage? Does the courage to face me come from your confidence or from your ignorance? And Zoro just, that ambition and a promise to a friend.
I love it. The dialogue on this page is so cool.
It really is. And that would be a great cliffhanger on its own.
But we got one more page.
But we get that last page with Nami. Where, boy. I'm sorry. See,
you should just read this out.
Yeah. What a bunch of swell guys. If we meet again, I hope they'll let me sail with them. I hope we meet again. I can't wait to be free, Belmare.
And she's just crying. She's sailing away on the Going Merry. She's got the treasure and she's just bawling.
Just gutted. And that's that whole thing where she's like seeing those moments from Luffy, seeing the passion behind the entire crew up to that point. Has really changed her mind, where she was...
Yeah, she hated pirates initially.
Yeah, hated pirates. It was all a matter of convenience and partnership and whatnot. But whatever she saw just pushed her to do something else like this. And apparently something is tying her down to whatever's making her do this.
We'll have to wait a little while to find out what that is, though.
Yeah, we will. But I gotta say, even just looking at it here, it gets me choked up knowing.
Yeah, that teaser. I did not know that teaser was coming at the end of this chapter.
No,
so I got to it and I was like, oh.
Yep, completely forgot about that. A little indication of what might be next on the horizon whenever they do catch up with Nami.
Wow.
And I love how there's a lot of talk in these set of chapters about confidence, because that is what I'm seeing on the page right now. It's like Oda switched a gear as soon as he hit this arc.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the most confident he's been as like a manga artist and as a storyteller up to this point. Like, it sort of feels like this is the point where everything was building up to, was these two moments with Baratier and with Nami and stuff. Like, we're getting into the good stuff.
Yeah, really feels that way. And God, what a way to end.
yeah. I was like, you're getting hyped on the build up, and then that last page is just, if you're reading for the first time, it might not mean anything to you, and
it's more of like the curiosity is like, what is going on here?
What is making her feel this way? What is making her cry as she steals the ship from the crew? But like, as somebody who knows, I'm just like, oh, okay. All right, I guess we're going to do this part soon.
I am so excited for our newcomers to learn these answers. It is good stuff.
But before we get to those answers, though, we still got a good chunk of this arc with Baratier left. Yeah,
that's the crazy thing. We've been in nothing but setup.
Yeah, I feel like
these chapters are amazing and they're nothing but setup.
Yeah.
Like, usually setup is kind of like, all right.
Yeah, okay, but yeah, just the way that things have been laid out in the story arc, and we haven't even gotten to what is the good stuff specific to Baratier. I'm like, oh man, we have so much left to go through. So much of it so good, and it just the build up has me so hyped for next week.
Me too. The one last thing I'll say before we end off this set of chapters is the SBS did confirm what I thought, where they said that Morgan was the one that was captured by Kuro.
Oh,
during that whole setup.
See, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. I had no idea about that. Yeah,
he actually confirms he was a sergeant then, but after the incident, he was promoted to lieutenant commander. Then he muscled his way up to captain and was given command of a Navy base. He even says, I suspect that when Kuro looked deep into Morgan's eyes, he probably sensed a kindred spirit of some kind. Which, that's good.
That's funny.
That's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, gosh, even there's so much more connective tissue, like, because Oda, if he wasn't asked, he probably wouldn't have pointed that out, because it's not like, it's not something you need to know. It's not really relevant to the story, but it's just like, oh, Morgan was there when Kuro, the day Kuro just, like, went Tasmanian Devil on the Marines.
Yeah.
But like, it just knowing that it was because of that Morgan's, he got promoted to captain and became a really crappy Marine captain in a 2-bit town in the middle of nowhere.
Right. That interconnectivity, though, is one of my favorite aspects of One Piece.
There's going to be a lot of that.
It's the direct opposite to me of Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
And how it handled even Yu Yu Hakusho, where it's like, this guy is the biggest, baddest bad guy ever. Beat him. Okay, this guy is the biggest, baddest
it's
bad
the
guy
escalation
ever.
Of the threats.
It's just, but there's no connective tissue. It's just like, this was a threat. We beat it. Oh, there happens to be another big threat next up. And sometimes they'll be connected, but not fully in those ways. But One Piece, what they managed to do,
everything feels connected.
As it seems as early as this with Mihawk, Hawkeye, like, okay, this is the strongest swordsman in the world. Here is the demonstration of that power. And then you start meeting people that are less strong than him, but still super strong. And you get a better sense of what that means for Hawkeye.
Think, obviously, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I feel like even in the context of One Piece now, over 1,000 chapters in, I think if Mihawk showed up anywhere, you would still be like, oh. It's not... There are definitely like characters and villains who get kind of like power scaled out of like, okay, you were a threat, but you're not really a threat anymore. But I feel like there's so many others that are built up to and are properly like, this is the bar. And the story has moved on, but this is still the bar.
Yeah.
And Mihawk represents a lot of that to me, I think.
Yeah, that is a great aspect to it. And I can't wait to see even more. Yeah. But with that, I believe we've said all we've wanted to say about chapters 46 to 50 of One Piece. Thank you so much for listening.
Yes, thank you.
10 episodes in the can. That is crazy.
Yeah,
Double
baby.
digits from now on. All right.
Yeah.
Now the long trek to triple digits.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, we're halfway to triple digit chapters, like, and we've only been at this for like 3 months.
I know, it's insane.
Yeah. So I'm excited to get to chapter 100 with the rest of you guys.
Absolutely, I can't wait. Just thank you so much for listening, and you can find more of my ramblings and stream VODs over at BitNerd Games on YouTube or BitNerd with an underscore at the end on Twitter. Brandon, where can they find you at?
I'm at Brandon Bovia on Twitter, or talking about anime and manga and games and my job, more or less.
To date this episode a little bit, you just had a massive tweet blow up thanks to your takes on Master Duel.
Yeah. They should make it like Smash, which is something I say about a lot of things.
And that holds true for a lot of things, so not wrong. But if you'd like to help us out more, you can support the podcast over at patreon.com/Derek Bittner. That's DERRICKBITNER to listen to the next episode 3 days early. And make sure to return next time as we discuss chapters 51 to 55 of One Piece. Until then, my friends, bye.
Remember to take life one piece at a time.
What happened to us on the 7th day of our journey through that cursed sea? I don't know if it was a dream or reality. I saw things that I can't bring myself to believe. I know in my heart that it's impossible for that entire 50-ship fleet to be completely eradicated by a single man.